Everyone wants to live an inspired life, yet so many people search for happiness following the footsteps of peers and taking advice from people who have different values and outcomes to which they're searching. There are people born into wealth, graduated from the best universities in the world, and there are people who have none of that and yet are living extraordinary lives full of fulfillment and reward. The purpose of this podcast is to share insights and strategies that allow you to question the status quo and think freely, so you can design your life and be who you want to be. We get one life. Time is our most valuable asset. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on meaningful work, we become better human beings. This is Always Free, and I'm your host, Jason Graystone.
Welcome to the leading podcast for financial empowerment and wealth creation. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. You can connect with Jason on social media and subscribe to the Jason Graystone YouTube channel for weekly videos. Don't forget to also subscribe to the weekly newsletter to receive frequent educational content and action steps to help you design your life so you can be who you want to be. For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.
Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. If you're listening to this for the first time, this is the Always Free podcast, the number one place for financial empowerment and true wealth creation. And if this is the first one you're listening to, as always, go back to number one, start there. If you're one of the people that kind of likes to listen from the earliest or the most recent, I should say, I really highly recommend you go back to the beginning on this one, because this is a complete strategy that you can learn throughout listening to all of these podcasts that you can apply to your life. So having said that, this particular episode has been sparked from much demand from a live Facebook video that I did in my private Facebook group for the Tears of Freedom Mastermind group. And I also put this out into a newsletter format as well for those of you who read the newsletter. But I was kind of asked to put it into a podcast because some people miss the newsletter, some people aren't in the group. So I thought I'd share it with you. And really how you can really start to accelerate wealth, how you can build substantial wealth in a much easier way than people think, okay? And in terms of, monetary value, people think you have to have millions and millions and millions to accumulate lots of wealth, and money gets money and all that. And I want to share with you a little idea here that hopefully gives you a little mind shift, and you're able to go off and think, actually, wow, this is really, you'll get a really powerful take home from this. So, as I said, I did this in a Facebook Live, and people always ask me this, okay? They say, look, if you're trading and you're investing and you're doing that so well, why do you keep creating more businesses and more products and more services? And my answer, okay, my full answer, including my strategies and my longer term vision and everything, will be laid out in this podcast episode, okay? So you guys know that I've always said that yes, you should learn the skills of investing. Yes, you should learn the skills of saving, investing passively, buying companies, okay, buying stocks, increasing your income. And once you can build a very, very efficient wealth liquidity system like that, then the last thing to do is to chuck money into it. And the way that you chuck money into it is either by compounding what you're generating, okay, or your urge and desire to go and serve people and build products and build services, because if you don't do that, you're going to feel very, very unfulfilled. All right. Now, I've always said that there is there's this kind of order in which you build sustainable wealth. And it's 1, get your finances in order by doing the, observe, analyze, optimizing, automating, all that kind of stuff. 2, save an ever-growing portion of your income. 3, build liquid cash cushions. 4, invest in low-risk funds. 5, invest in undervalued, valuable stocks. 6, allocate a certain allocation of your investment account to speculation. And when you've developed that skill, as I say, you literally build a system where the only thing left to do is to throw that income in. And if you're saying, but I don't want to serve anyone, or I don't want to create any products and services, it's because you're either stressed out at your current role or your job, or you hate your day-to-day activities right now in either your job or your business. You just need some space. You want time. That's what you're searching for. The fact that you're saying you don't want to create products or serve, you will want to serve someone to some degree, okay? Whether that's your family, friends, community, the marketplace, whatever it is, you've got a burning desire inside of you to serve humanity, right? So we've all got that. If you just won the lottery, I think Jim Rohn said that if you win £1 million, you better learn how to be a millionaire real quick, because otherwise you're going to spend all the money. And it's so true. When you're sustainably building wealth, if you got handed $1 million, or let's just say that you generated a big windfall in your business, you sold your business, and you had a lump of cash, there's only so long you can sit on the beach for, right? It really is. You're going to feel very unfulfilled sitting there alone, doing your thing. So I've always said here that whilst you're fit and young and healthy and you've got energy and you're vital, okay, go and serve and use your system that you've built, because you've got the skills to invest in the markets and you've got the skills of speculation to then go and throw as much money as possible into that system. And that is normally when people say, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do though. I don't know. I don't have any ideas. And that's where I come up with this 100 million income idea. That might sound far-fetched, but let me just start from scratch and I'll take you through it. So everyone has a valuable message, okay? Everyone has a valuable message inside them that they can share with the world. And if you really don't think you do, then it's either because you're trying to please too many people instead of kind of polarizing your own audience and staying true to your word and being brave enough to share your true message without getting, one-sided opinions and that causing a problem with you. Or you just haven't invested enough into yourself by taking the time to kind of formalize your thoughts and creating a structure or a methodology around your beliefs. Because you can do that, right? You've got a set of values, you've got a set of opinions, you've got a set of skills, you're good at something, you're knowledgeable about something, and you can take all of that and you can formalize it into a product or a methodology or some kind of principle, rules, all that kind of thing, and you can start talking about it, all right? So what I want to do is give you an example of how simple this can be. So take this podcast or my newsletter, for example, okay? Let's take the newsletter. I promoted my newsletter solely through my Instagram account, all right? Now, I started my Instagram account just 4 years ago, and it was 2016, late 2016, I started posting on there. And over the last year, I dedicated about 4 hours of my time per week writing my thoughts and my strategies and all of my learnings into those newsletters. And they were very, very valuable to many of the readers. I got lots of great feedback. In fact, they were so valuable, they felt compelled to tell others and share the newsletter with others. And in a very short space of time, through sharing my thoughts and messages and word of mouth, I was able to generate a newsletter list of 5,000 genuine, polarized subscribers to the newsletter and my message, right? So once you're able to give value to just 5,000 people, which really isn't a difficult goal, okay? 5,000 people is really not a difficult goal if you're consistent and you keep putting the message out. You've now got a great base of loyal, raving fans who they trust you, they want to know more, they want to work with you more, they want to buy from you, they trust anything you say, and they just want to get closer to you. Like, after all, right, they've spent hours with you already. They've spent hours reading with you on a Sunday, reading your newsletter. They've spent hours with you every Thursday, listening to you in their ear, in the gym, in bed. You've been in bed with them. You've been running with them. It's very, very, it's a very intimate connection that you can form, much more intimate than you think. So the next thing to do, once you do that, is create a valuable, low-cost, monthly commitment product that allows them to be part of your tribe in some way, all right? To work with you, to receive more than a newsletter in some way, just to get access to a bit more. And I strongly believe, right, with hand on heart, that everyone has a minimum value of £50 per month in them, right? If you really feel that you don't have the value to the tune of £50 in you, for someone to pay £50 per month for you to deliver, some value to someone in the world, then my advice would be, look at your message to the world, look at what you're genuinely inspired by and what you require no motivation to do every day, and start talking about that, start productizing that, formalizing your thoughts around that, and think about what lights you up Okay? How can you help people who want to know how you've achieved a certain result? And trust me, it's there. It's there. Everyone has got the value of £50 in them. So based on my own personal conversions, there's going to be around a 20% buy-in rate from the raving fans of the newsletter to that product. So in this example that I've just given you, it would be 1,000 people, which is 20% of my 5,000 email list, buying a £50 per month product, which would bring in a 50 grand per month income, right? Just like that. And all of those clients will get real value at very low commitment and very low risk. So out of those clients, about 20% of them will want even more. All right, so this is where you go all out and develop a step-by-step program on how to achieve a result. All right, so you've got a result, you've achieved something, you've done something that someone else wants to know, and you create a step-by-step guide, program, whatever it is, consultancy program, course, whatever it is, on how to do that and how to get that result. And you give all of your love, all of your creativity, all of your attention, all of your care, and you ensure that anyone who buys it loves it, absolutely loves it, and gives great reviews. So my advice is, being, from a freedom standpoint, is to create a course, an online program, and the cost should be a minimum of £1,000. All right, now £1,000 is very, very reasonable now for a program like that. And again, everyone has a value of £1,000 in them to their select raving fans. So just to catch up there, if 20% of the already paying clients, right, buy your £1,000 product, then that's another 200 grand of income just on that product alone. And let's just say this is an annual snapshot. All right, so you've got 5,000 on your email list, 1,000 of them are buying your monthly subscription, which is 50 grand a month. And then 20% of that 1,000, which is 200, will be buying your £1,000 product. And that'll be another 200 grand income for that product. So we're not doing too bad so far, are we? All right. So the next step is to allow people from the newsletter to buy your main product directly. Now, because they haven't built up as much rapport with you as the monthly guys have, then there's usually a lower conversion rate there. And in my own example, that's usually around 10%. So if 10% of the newsletter clients opt in directly for your £1,000 product, then you've just netted another $500,000 a year. So let's just recap this a little bit, right? We've got 50 grand per month coming in from the monthly. That is 600 grand a year. We've got 200 grand from the monthly paying conversions onto your main product. And then finally, we've got $500,000 from the direct paying conversions from the newsletter to the main product, right? That's 1.3 million in revenue for 1 year of writing a 4-hour newsletter and putting your message out there the right way. Now, you're probably saying now, well, what if the conversions aren't that high? So let's go ultra conservative. In fact, let's halve all of my examples, okay? So I'm not going to use my experience. Let's just say we go half. So let's just say there's, instead of a 20% conversion from the newsletter to the monthly, it's 10. From the monthly to the main course is 10. And then from the email list to the main course is 5. All right, let's just say that. And what that means is you're going to get 300 grand per year from the monthly, 50 grand per year from the conversions from the monthly to the core. And then you've got the direct from the newsletter to the core, which will be another £250,000. So you've more than halved. All right, so your annual income, 600 grand a year. Now, you've got to ask yourself, could you survive on 600,000 a year, right? Because I'm a firm believer that nobody needs more than absolute maximum 20 grand per month to live on. I firmly believe that no one needs more than 20 grand per month to live on. So you're bringing in 600 grand. Let's just say you're paying some tax on that. Let's just say you might not need 20 grand, right? Let's just say that you are able to pay tax and you're able to take 25 grand per month and dump it into passive investments at just 7% per year, right? Now, if you go over to a compound interest calculator like the calculatorsite.com, what you're going to see is you'll be able to type in some information there. And if you put a 7% interest rate in and you calculate over just forecast the next 100 years, right? And you put 25 grand a month deposit in, right? And you start with nothing, and then you increase that with inflation. What that will tell you, it will spit out a load of numbers, and you'll see that in about 40 years, you'll have 100 million pounds or dollars. Right? 100 million in 40 years. And for shits and giggles here, let's just say that you took that 100 million and you wanted it managed very, very passively, and you paid someone to manage the passive investments. And let's just say that you put it in a lower risk fund, even lower, and you was getting 5% per year, right? If you put 100 million into a passive investment account of 5% per year, that's going to spit out a £96,000 per week income forever and ever and ever without ever eating into the original chunk of money. What you have to also bear in mind is that I've been extremely conservative with this example. Not only have I halved the conversions, but I've also not included for your following growing. Okay, so social media following, that has exponential growth. My own Instagram account, the following on that has, in year 1, I had 100 followers. Year 2, I had 1,000 followers. Year 3, I had 4,000. Year 5, which is this, year 4, I had 10,000, sorry. And then year 5, which is this year, we're on to hit a minimum of 20,000. I'm already on 16. So it's exponential growth. So the more growth you get, the more newsletter readers you'll get, and the whole thing starts to churn upwards, right? The next thing I hadn't bared in mind is your product ecosystem might grow. So by that time, you might develop more products, better products. You might have partnerships, collaborations. You might add more value to your products, and it might be more expensive. And then there's investing and saving and investing more money. You've heard me talk about putting accelerated savings every 3 months. Well, if you're doing that, I haven't even allowed for that. If you're doing that, your savings and investments will double every 2 years. And then finally, you could get better returns. You could get better returns than 7%, which is why I learned how to invest, how to buy stocks, how to trade, how to speculate, how to build a liquidity system that will accelerate my income returns. And then when I do finally decide to kick my feet up, I can literally live off of the returns alone and a far more, lavish lifestyle than ever. In fact, I could probably provide an income for my whole family forever. When you take all that into consideration, 100 million seems small all of a sudden. I plan on doing this over and over and over again while I'm fit and healthy and able to do so and be able to provide value. So just to kind of summarize this episode, guys, my advice is to learn the skills of investing, right? Learn how to structure your finances. Learn how to build that wealth liquidity system in a way that you don't have to think about, removes all emotion from bringing in an income. Learn how to speculate, okay? Then throw as much income into that system as possible whilst you're fit and able to do so. So that's where people go wrong. People learn a piece of the strategy, they don't learn it all. And that's what we do at Tears of Freedom. We teach people the entire system, and then we teach you how to build many of these highly profitable, highly efficient income streams that allow you to accelerate the whole thing. Okay, and if you don't think you've got a message to put out, there are ways and methods to create that. Okay, there's ways to find that message, to develop content. But hopefully you got value from that. If you're interested in hearing more about this, please go over and fill in an interest application form. You can go to bit.ly/Tears of Freedom survey, and you'll be entered into our database, and you'll be invited to join our private Facebook group, and then we'll do intakes into the program from that Facebook group. But really the message for this is, look, building wealth, yes, it takes courage, but it's easier than you think. Look, whether you think it or not, you're here to be much more, okay? You're here to live big. So if you got value from this, please go and take action. Let the cogs turn. Please share this with someone else who needs to hear it. I have a big mission to substantially increase the number of people set up for financial success. And I know you can help me do that by just sharing this podcast with just 3 people and help me hit my goals. So until next week, guys, have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you then.
Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. For news on all future events and updates, go to jasongraystone.com.